All right, here we go. Fuel filter. If you can see it, give you some light. So this is the fuel filter that came with the boat, and as I understand, these have some problems with the aluminum cracking, or if there's a valve inside that goes bad. But mine's always seem to work fine, except for that little drain at the bottom. It was leaking out of there. At the hardware store, I found that little cap, little 5/16 cap, rubber cap. It fit on there. I don't know if that'll stop the leak. Here's the float bowl. Supposedly you can't get these anymore. The O-ring inside there, it's like that weird, it's not even an O-ring, it's like a rubber cap that goes over that white plastic plug and then stops the two holes up inside here. And you can't buy that anymore. It doesn't seem to be available, and they want $100 for this bottom clear float bowl. As you can see over there, I don't know if you can see, but there's the facet pump. You can see that. I can see my flashlight. Right there. There's the facet pump, right? And then they got some hokey lines going down with a little swing valve on it and a drain. And this is Parker push lock. Parker push lock hose. And you can see that there's cracking going on in it. It's getting old. And I want to go far with this boat, so you can see the cracks starting to form. So my question is, what do I replace that with? This is the Racor R24P, which I believe is the 2 micron unit. And it's always worked fine. I have no problems with it. You can see I changed it on the 9/11 of 2020. I don't see why I should change it at this moment, but that leaking, I'm afraid to fill it up now because I think that O-ring is bad. So that's why I'm thinking about changing it. These things are ridiculously expensive for what they are. I've seen them on eBay on Amazon for about the right price, like $35 maybe. I've seen some even cheaper, but $20 I think I've seen some for. But Racor wants, I don't know, I think I've seen this particular one, which I'm not really sure of the model of, but I think I saw it for $144. I've never had a problem getting the filter off. I changed it, no problem. I hear some people have a hard time with that, and maybe they put it on too tight. But it seemed to work for me. I saw the 500 series one is $200. That's a little crazy. One thing that concerns me about getting a new one is this line here. Look, on my boat, you can get down to the side here. See this line coming off here? That's some hokey nonsense they got there. It goes to that line, right? Then they got some sort of... Let's see if the camera will do the light better without my flashlight. Not really. You got that guy there, which I just dripped diesel all over. That fitting, so it's not leaking. It's just I dripped it out of that valve. So you got that fitting, which is a little hokey. Like, why do you need that fitting between there and there? Why not just a solid line? And then that goes up. So look, it's a... If I can get this over there. It's over here. Now you see that line is it's a pre-made line, a pre-fit, which is kind of weird. So that concerns me. The rest of this stuff with that little valve down there for bleeding and stuff, I'll just replace it with regular Type A, Shields fuel line. The tank over here, that came out well. You can see it's off. I got my fuel sending unit in. The send and return. I put these things back in. They were there already, but they were missing parts, so I had to make some new holders and stuff, and everything's hooked up back there again. You can see there's the vent and the vent and the fill. And then up here at the bottom, since it, you know, the old tank came out to this corner over here, came all the way out. Like, if you sit here and look, you see this angle? See how it turns here? The original one came out all the way on that angle to here and then went. So it sat up on there. But now it wouldn't fit out the companionway, so we had to make it a little narrower, which we lost that angle, which was only 2 gallons of fuel. Not a big deal. So then I took this starboard stuff and I put a foot under it to hold it. And this thing ain't moving. It's wedged in there. And this, just see a little gap, just in case it slides forward. It can't. It'll hit that. And that's it. And I'm going to put the cover back on. It's got 10 gallons of diesel in it now, out of the tanks that I took out of it. And I left a little gap there for air to get under. I don't think the thing's going to try to come up. I don't think it's going to shift around and move. But you know what? I'll put the cover back on here and go sail a little bit. Might put some marks on this with a Sharpie and then see if anything moves around. Do a little inspection, you know, a month into the season, see what happens. But other than that, everything looks pretty decent. And now it's a, instead of a 40 gallon, it's a 38. No big deal. I'll throw a couple extra. I'm not sailing to Hawaii, so I don't need that much fuel. And if I did, I'll just throw some jugs up on the bow for when that time ever comes, if it does. So you can see the way this is all fit together. Having the engine underneath the sink does cause a lot of issues, like the vent pipe that goes up there that I had to tape up with some duct tape because I had some holes in it. You know, thought about replacing it. I did replace the fill and the vent. That was replaced, and I replaced both the lines there, the send and return. So now I'm just worried about the fuel filter because of that little drip it was getting. And that's the first time I ever saw that drip. Never had that drip before that I think, you know, who knows how long it was dripping for because you can't really see it. So do I go with another Racor? I mean, I want, my issue is, like, I wouldn't mind going with this same type again because I have more of those filters. You know, I got a bunch of stuff, spares, they're down in there somewhere. I probably have 3 or 4 of them. Yeah. So, is the 500 worth the $200 going with? And I could probably fit it in there. I think it's a foot. I think it's a foot long, that thing. And a foot long, even if I get it in there, will I be able to open up the top? Let's see, let me flip this back. And here's the tape measure. We need more light. We definitely need more light. Let's see. Flashlight out. Light this thing up. We'll go 1 click up. There we go. We got it brighter now. Here we go. So you can see the Racor there. We don't have much room on the top. If I moved it out here, it would block my way to the engine access. Where it is isn't great, but you can see 2 years I never changed that thing. Never had to. Never had any fuel flow issues, and the fuel's always been clean. Even the tank wasn't bad inside. So if you look at 12, that thing's gonna hang down. If I try to get it to here, because you got to take that screw off the top and get the filter in the top, so it's got to be lower. Thing's gonna stick out all the way down to here. I don't think that's necessary. And I don't want to really move it too far from this line because that's a solid line straight from the tank. I don't want to put an extension on it or nothing. Or pull another line. And the fuel filter's right next to it. I mean the pump, the facet pump. I think I just replaced it with the same one. Let me know your suggestions. And this one's got the little pump on the top. You know, I've seen them with and without the pump on the top. My fuel tank is below. I thought this thing was supposed to tighten up. I guess it doesn't. It just screws in place. It just sits there. Oh, does it tighten up? Oh yeah, it tightens up. There it goes. Huh. I never had, even when I changed it, I didn't have problems. I think I didn't drain it when I changed it. I just unscrewed it. And I don't think I drained the bowl. I just unscrewed it, kept the fuel in the bowl, and then put the new filter back on and put it back in. I don't remember. Maybe I drained it. I probably drained it. I can't remember, but I remember using that little pump, and I didn't have any problems. I didn't get any air in this system or nothing. The engine started right up. I also changed that facet pump. The old one went bad and intermittently was killing me, but then I changed it out and everything's fine. That was 2 years ago. That was in 2020. That's when I changed that pump too. Changed the pump, changed the filter. And I changed the little filter on the side of the engine because it's real easy to get to. See, and 1120. It's right there in front of you. So, any suggestions? I'm open to them. I don't even know what model that is. So even if you could tell me what model that is, maybe I'll just order the newer version of that and change it and get rid of these old Parker lines because they're getting a little cracked and dry rot, and I'll get rid of that drain valve that wasn't necessary. Someone must have had a problem with something. These facet pumps, even though they're running, doesn't mean they're pumping, and someone wasn't able to figure that out. Sometimes they go bad inside as well. So they rigged up all this hokey stuff to get things to work, or maybe they were draining the fuel out in the winter. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. All right, I will post this, and hopefully you guys can give me some answers. Oh yeah, I want to see something else kind of cool. Something I made. I put the new throttle cables in. Right, all new cables. But the throttle, you got the. This is the this guy is the kills the engine kill, and this is the throttle. But it moves so freely, you get throttle creep. So they have a thing called the brake that goes on here. It's like almost looks like a little C-clamp with a bolt that pushes down and pinches this. I don't know. It was $25, and I'm like, $25 for that? It's like a little plastic piece of a TV mount that I had, and I put a piece of copper on the inside and a screw on it, and I'm going to slide that over it and tighten the screw down, and the copper will press up against the throttle cable and be its brake. Not bad, right? I think that might work. If it doesn't, oh well, I'll buy the $25 one. You don't really need to press on these cables much to get some resistance. I've seen. I was fooling around with one before. But, alright, I'm going to post this and you guys give me your advice. Talk to you later. So as it turns out, that little device I made did not work properly. And you do have to use their $25 C-clamp cable creep stopper. And it doesn't go by the engine side, it has to go up by the helm. Where the lever is actually, and it uses quite a bit of force because I ran my to stop creep. Not much force to slow the cable down, but to stop it from creeping, it took quite a bit. Oh, by the way, 77.4%. This one's at 92. I did use both when I used my inverter to run the vacuum cleaner, but I haven't charged these batteries since the boat came out of the water in November, and it's now March, almost March. It'll be March in a day or two. Crazy, right? I keep those batteries on. I keep the lights on all the time. when I'm working in here, and I run the I've used the inverter a couple times running the vacuum. I use the radio. It's 4 speakers. Here we are into the blue. Gotta go to work. I see the outside here. Pretty chilly out today. It snowed. The kids had no school. Get this other shoe on without messing it up. 2 gallons of 2 10-gallon jugs of diesel. Put them in. Good to go. Got that valve closed. Brr. It is cold out there, huh? Look at the ice on the Hudson. Blowing. Woo-hoo! It wasn't windy when I got here today, but it is now. Ay. Reach forward. Grab this guy. Yeah, I'll take you up. Look at the water. Let's see. Here's the old vent line underneath the boat. Woohoo! This way looks better today. Oh, man, is it cold out today. Beautiful view, though. Never this windy when I'm out here trying to sail, I'll tell you that much. Man, it's gotta be blowing like 25. Alright, adios. Okay, so Racor filters explained here from Not Normal here. So here's what we got. Original filter that I was using was the R24P. And this is the R24P filter housing and filter bowl. That little drain right there, which I have put a rubber cap on because it was leaking. There's a little rubber O-ring up inside here, but it's like a hat type O-ring and it squishes up against the inside. That was leaking. So, and this same unit here, this housing part, on several boats, I've read about when they get old, they tend to let air in through micro cracks that you can't even see in the aluminum. And then your engine doesn't run. It doesn't actually leak, supposedly. It just doesn't run. Now, you can order... So the issue is that was leaking, so all I wanted to do was replace the bowl with, I was going to just replace the O-ring and the bowl, which you can do. The O-ring kit is $40, and put it on there, but why spend $40 on that when this is so old and it could start leaking? I don't know how old this is, but the boat's in 1986, and I don't know, it looks like it's in the same condition as the rest of the boat, but it's definitely old. And Racor has since changed the bowl design to this design with this other type of valve on it, the self-bleeding valve they call it. But along with changing that valve, they've changed the thread. So when I called Racor, they put me through to, I called West Marine, I called Defender Marine. No one could answer my question as to what the R24P housing would fit on, in a whole new filter element, with this and a bowl that comes with it, which one would the R24P fit on? So I called West Marine Defender. Defender gave me a number
to where they would call for help. And when I got that lady on the phone, she said, no, you have to be to this number, which is a different brand altogether. It kind of threw me off. I think it might have been an automotive brand of some sort, who bought Parker Racor out. And I got that guy on the phone, and he seemed very knowledgeable about everything. He said, oh, yeah, well, let me look at the list here. He said, okay, you can get the filter kit, the O-ring kit for this bowl. And I believe he was right about that. And I looked at it, and I said, $40 for a filter kit. Let me just get a whole new filter. Like I said, I was nervous about this leaking. So I asked him, I said, what filter head kit do you have that accepts the R24P? And he said, this one, which is called the 230R10. Yep, the Racor 230R10. So I bought it, $177. So it comes in, and as you can see, the filters are taller by quite a bit. I'd say that's an inch taller all around. It's an inch taller filter. Okay, which makes it not fit in my spot, because not only is the filter an inch taller, but the bowl, that sticks down a little further. And it just happens to, when you screw it in, it just happens to land against the housing. Now, I can't say the guy was lying 100%, because here's an R24S, and I have the R24Ps. They do bolt up to it. It is the exact same head unit. No doubt about it. Right? Change the color of the knob, but the bleeder's in the same spot. Plugs fit the same spot, whatever. Okay? And it screws on here. But the bowl won't fit. And they don't sell that bowl anymore. So I would have been better off just buying the O-ring kit. I don't know. Or maybe buying the O-ring kit now and using the old bowl and that, and now I'm up to, like, let's see, $177 and another $40. Jesus. I should have went on Amazon and bought one made by some 8-year-old kid in China for $20. That's where I give it to Racor. If you look on their filters, it does say made in USA. So I unthreaded this one so I can put it back on myself, and when it stops, when I get the resistance, I'm going to put it onto here. So this lands in the right spot so it doesn't hit the hoses below it. Now, another thing about Racor. From the factory, this filter is put onto this head so goddamn tight that it will pull the screws out, like everyone has said online. So what I had to do was, luckily I had a long piece of 2x4 laying over here. I screwed the housing to the 2x4. I took my belt and I wrapped it around there and put some gloves on, and between the gloves and the belt, I was able to get it off, almost giving myself a hernia. But that's it. So the R24Ss and the Ps, they're pretty much obsolete, which is a shame because I got a couple more of them down there in the bottom. I guess they're just going to have to go in the trash, and I don't know what the P... The P stands for primary, okay? The T, which stands for 30 micron. The T is 10 micron, and it's like an in-between. It's not exactly a primary, it's not exactly a secondary, it's somewhere in between. And the S versions of all their filters is a secondary filter, which is a 2 micron. And you can see that on there somewhere. It says 2 micron, I believe. Yeah. I don't know. Somewhere it says 2 micron on there. Which is not necessary on my boat because I already have a 2 micron filter right on the side of the engine block, right there somewhere, which you can't see. So that's the Racor filter explained. Yeah, cost a lot of money. And no fittings come with it. You can go online and you can find filters on Amazon, diesel filters that come with fittings and everything for them. These come with no fittings. All it does is come with a plug. So that's my story, and I'm going to update my Ericson yacht form that I posted that this was supposed to be the fitting one, but obviously somebody didn't look to see that the bowl fit the bottom. It fits the housing, but the bowl can't screw on. It doesn't work. This bowl threads in through this part, the middle section, and this threads through on an outside section. See the difference? See, that threads into there, that plastic to plastic fitting there, whereas that one threaded in the middle. Why the big change? I don't know. Maybe to sell you more filters? That seems to be Racor Parker's theme here. I heard at times they used to have their own proprietary thread for their filter heads too. And we're talking a filter here. You could just buy a filter for any truck or car out there. I'm sure I could have went to AutoZone and found one for $25 or something. All right, that's my grape. So what I'm going to do is I'll just continue to use these filters instead. And if you look, the media, I'm looking at this now. Hold on, I'm going to put this down for a second. I just noticed this. If you look here, see this depth? The media only comes to here. So the added inch is just because of this new, there's no threads in there. The threads are here on the outside part. Those are the threads. If you can see, the threads are there, not there. But this is what accounts for the depth. It doesn't actually, so it's an inch taller, but it gives you no extra filtering capacity. And on another issue I saw another video online of a woman from another marine outlet, and she was stating that this plastic over time shrinks, and this round part here starts to shrink in first, and it makes this, instead of being straight up and down like a wall, it cones in, and then they don't grab on all the teeth, and then this falls off, and now you have fuel pouring down into your boat. I saw that somewhere, and I didn't know that that's what I was getting when the guy told me, oh no, it'll work, and it'll work with your filters. The cover's on, obviously, but I got the fuel tank in, and now I'm trying to get the rest of this thing put together, but it's very aggravating. So that's my gripe. All right, take care, guys. Bye.